I would have done it, but... Let's go! There's no Buff Nation today because Jake's not here. Where is Jake? Do we know where Jake is?
Well, 3-day weekend, Mother's Day related. Family, friends, football.
Family, friends, and football and faith for some.
Yeah, I think you just added that one. Also,
no, that's definitely the 3 Fs are family, faith, and football. You substituted friends.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very nice of me. His friends are here on set, so I cannot speak to the friends portion of his
also
3-day weekend.
If you know Dre and I, you know that some of our best... Well, first of all, I just need to let you guys know that we are coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge.
There he is. There's my guy.
Wow, look at it.
There's my guy.
We're coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores. Best cars on the road. We are also presented by Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beers. This is so hard for me.
Maybe burritos, buddies, and beers got in my head, and I thought friends, family, and football.
Burritos, buddies, beers, and Buddha.
Again, I don't...
No?
I would rather not mix friends, family, football, and Buddha or faith.
Okay, all right.
You know, I keep those things separate.
So, if you know something about me and Dre, you know that the best conversations we've ever had in our life are in the 1 minute that lead up to the show. But then I just saw someone in the comments posting like they could hear us before the show, which...
Whoa!
We got to figure that out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, someone was like, you were going to do what, RK?
I noticed this.
I was going to tweet the link, but you know that because you could hear me somehow. That's scary.
That's scary. I noticed that with Nuggets pregame.
Because like we just opened our hearts before, 1 minute before the show. Like all topics are available. Personal life,
One
family.
of our sticks is get into it.
Yes,
as much as you can
in the 1 minute over like work related stuff.
And that topic will never be revisited.
No, it's just because who's gonna remember an hour later?
Yep, it's an isolated minute in time.
It's like if I have an issue with you, I'm bringing it up in that time. We'll settle it. Drop the gloves.
Oh my gosh.
No one's supposed to hear that, though.
Maybe I really should launch the podcast with my wife so we can settle some things in the minute before.
That's a good idea.
That'd go a long way.
All right. We have
Yeah.
news to start with, which is always fun. I always love the Monday shows because we got some interesting stuff to cover. We start with the most recent, though, because it's the one I'm most fired up about. Kickoff in Lincoln, 5:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m. local time, 5:30 p.m. Mountain. The best possible time slot for a college football game, especially if you're attending as a fan. And it will be on NBC, only the 6th time in Colorado football history that they've played a nationally televised game on NBC, and the first ever that's not a bowl game.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's big time.
It's big time. We've obviously played a ton of games on ABC, ESPN, the, what do they call it? The ESPN family of networks, or the ABC family of networks. We've played all of those.
Yeah.
NBC normally has not normally been associated with our conference. They're now associated with the Big Ten. I guess they're calling it Big Ten Saturday Night or something along those lines.
Oh, wow. Really creative
And
marketing.
so Colorado gets that time slot against Nebraska, and I'm so happy.
Pretty amazing, Ryan. I wonder what other competition there'll be that Saturday night as far as the college football slate is concerned. I kind of think that'll be the big game, though.
Yeah, well, week 3, normally not a lot of big games in week 3. A lot of tune-up games for scared teams.
Yes.
Before they go to their conference slate. Which
indeed.
Hopefully that's what it is for Colorado too. Just a little tune-up game in front of 90,000 under the lights.
Sounds about right.
But if you're coming with us to Lincoln, this is such great news for you because everyone remembers that came with us to TCU. Everything about it was amazing except waking up before the sun to go to the tailgate. Like, I remember just like my drunk, or not my I might as well have been drunk, but I was sober. My morning stupor, just trying to make it from my bed to the bus that we took to the tailgate was so, like, everything's just like fuzzy. You're like seeing some friends.
For you, that's an insanely long day too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was, and then in 100-degree heat, all of that. But this is amazing. Wake up at a normal time, maybe catch a little college football on the TV before you even head to the tailgate.
I think Lincoln game days are pretty elite too.
They are. You have to, like, said it once, say it a million times. When there's 0 other things to do in an entire state, the game days are going to be good.
Yeah, no. I mean, my experience is here where there's a lot more going on than just college football. But when I'm in those places where college football is like the thing their life revolves around, I love it. It's the best.
No, it's
Lincoln's big time like that.
It's a great place to watch a college football game. It's going to be a great atmosphere that day. And there is going to be plenty of time to get nice and tuned up before kickoff at our all-inclusive tailgate.
What a beautiful thing.
Okay, that's out of the way. Let's get to the commitments.
Yes.
The first one that came down, and I'm so sad Jake isn't here.
Oh, I know. This would have been a great one.
But I tried to be a journalist, which is something that I don't normally try to do, and reach out to Chidozie Nwankwo himself to find out how to pronounce his little brother's name.
Yeah, give it to me.
Didn't get a response yet. So block bully, no assist to you today. So I'm going to go with Chijoke.
I think that sounds the most right.
Chijoke Nwankwo commits to Colorado. And one of the great reasons why we love having Andre on the show is because this man has broken down a lot of tape in his life. Honestly, his start, not to go too deep into the weeds, but Andre's start with our company was based on doing film rooms. I think the first one you ever did was Shaq Barrett at Colorado State.
Wow, that's possible. That could be right.
Maybe one cycle after that, they had that linebacker who played for the Raiders for a few years.
Mike James,
Yeah, so Corey James.
Corey James.
Wow.
Holy
I know
shit.
that, and you don't. That's weird.
Who's Mike?
But Dre has done a lot of film breakdowns for us, so whenever I get to co-host a show with him, I throw him a couple names and say, hey, watch the tape on this. So we got breakdowns on... We need a nickname for him. Block Bully is just so easy to say. Block Bully Jr.
Yep.
And Savion Riley, who we'll talk about in a second. Yes. And then in the second segment, I'm really excited to get into your Julian Lewis breakdown, which we'll talk a little bit. Let's start with Little Block Bully.
Yeah, Little Block Bully, very similar to Big Block Bully, just a big boy, thick, well-built in the lower body at the high school level. Very, very hard to block. A guy who's going to live in the middle of the line and, powers the name of his game, being the lower man, winning the leverage battles, the name of the game for him. Just kind of bowling guys, overpowering guys, clogging, running lanes, and, getting penetration up the middle.
Ike, commenting on pronunciation, says Chijioke, which is actually way cooler than what I said. So might go with that one.
I'll tell you.
Someone else said Baby Bully.
These guys
is also
Baby Bully's a good one.
That works too. Baby Bully makes me think of that meme of the baby who's like squaring up. It's an old one. No?
I'm sure if
early
I saw it,
early meme culture.
I saw it, I would.
Anyways,
wow.
Everything you just said reminds me of someone. Who could it be? Block Bully himself.
Yes.
Everything you just said is the exact same thing for Block Bully. Low man wins, low center of gravity, You used a term when you were talking to me off air that was just like, I thought you were actually talking about block bully for a second. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Brick house?
You said a shit brick house. Yes. Which I think you were thinking of a brick shit house.
A brick shit house. Yeah, that sounds better.
Either way, it doesn't exactly sound like a compliment, but certainly gets the message across when you're talking about someone being a lot to deal with.
As I'm watching Baby Bully's tape, I had the clip of the Kelsey brothers talking about big asses and how big asses impact defensive linemen.
You're going to get paused like 14 times in the comments.
He is.
But I just love it. I love that you're essentially getting like the next in line, the next bully on the block.
Right.
Eventually, the block bully goes off to college and someone else has to take over the block. And it feels like Chijioke, if that's correct, is next in line.
What class is he?
I believe 25.
Nice.
This is where you can't ask me questions.
No,
like
I know.
that,
I'm sorry. I won't do that.
That's a Jake question.
Jake does this to me. Sets me
Jake,
up with
he's in charge of like class balance.
Yep.
It says actually class of 24.
Ooh.
Which is even more exciting. That means we get him here soon. But as you know, one thing we haven't talked about as it relates to Baby Bully so far is just the family business. And this is actually the first set of brothers that reside on the same side of the football. And we have several sets of brothers now. I believe we're up to 7.
Wow.
And all of them are one offense, one defense. Now we're getting the double bullies on defense. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, having 2 of them on the line is going to be fun.
Coach Prime, so much about building a family atmosphere. But every coach ever says this is about family. We're a family here.
Yeah.
I've never quite seen a coach truly practice what he preaches in terms of bringing families together.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that many sets. That's got to be a record for sets of brothers on one football team.
Yeah, geez, you'd think.
It's pretty cool.
And he sets the tone by obviously having his family so involved in the program.
It's his whole family's around, everyone else's family around. A lot of these guys' families, who are financially able to, have moved to Colorado as well to be here as a support system for them. So it's a really, really cool thing. Those families are all treated so well when they come into the facility. They come around the program. And I just think it has to be so comforting as a parent when you're sending your kid there or your kids there to know that this atmosphere exists around the program, that Coach Prime likes people having his family or their families around.
Yeah.
He also said he's very strict with his coaches on making sure that they make time for their families. And you hear all these like war stories. Was it the Vic Fangio stat? No, it was that Hackett staff with the Broncos that it came out like, oh, the coaches haven't left the facility in 3 weeks. They've been staying there.
Yep.
If you told that to Coach Prime, he would like shiver. He'd cringe because that's not healthy. Right. It's really unhealthy.
Yeah, it's so unhealthy. It also sounds like terrible time management.
Possibly. But and I've even heard back at the Fangio staff that essentially there's kind of an unwritten rule that no one leaves the facility until the head coach leaves the facility.
Right.
Well, Fangio didn't have his I don't think he had a wife. It was like his life partner. His kids were all, he's an empty nester at the time. He took over the job when he was in his 60s.
Yeah. Right.
And he never left. So then all the assistants never left because they're just looking down the hall waiting to see until his door is, closed and the lights are off. And I think that's just unhealthy. Coach Prime preaches to these guys, hey, I don't want you bringing football home to your family, and I don't want you bringing your family here to the office in terms of, whatever you have going on.
Right.
Make sure you separate those things. Make sure you do have a work-life balance. Make sure you make time for your kids. And then, he welcomes those families out to the facility all the time to come hang out. So that family atmosphere is no joke, and it's not just coach speak when it comes to Colorado.
I mean, it all starts with Coach and his own family. It's pretty incredible.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, next one. and an exciting one that we actually have college tape on, and that is safety Savion Riley, who comes from Vanderbilt, brief stint at Miami before entering the portal again, and now ending up at Colorado.
Yeah. We had a good laugh looking at his Rivals profile, because as a high schooler, he looks completely different than the profile picture they have 2 years later. But a former wide receiver recruited to Vandy. He's put on some weight and converted to safety. Was able to watch all his plays against Georgia this year, where, you'd think a deep safety, Lad McConkey, all those tight ends they have, Brock Bowers, that running game will be tested. Vandy, if you remember last year, had a great game against Georgia. Actually, kind of started a lot of questions for Georgia. They kind of have like one stinker in them like that every year.
And big touchdown for Will Shepherd in that game as well.
That's true, yes. And Savion looked really good. The way I describe him is he's a Livingston safety. So we always talk about Coach Livingston and that Cincinnati defense and their use of that fifth defensive back, that nickel DB, nickel safety, what have you. And Riley, I think, really fits that. He played in a lot of cover 2 looks, was seldom tested because he's very good in coverage. I think can play as a single high safety, good last line of defense, good range, really good in single coverage. Where I'll probably have the most concerns is wrapping up as a tackler. Good in lowering his shoulder if he's coming downhill. It's getting that technique down and wrapping up consistently in space is going to probably be his biggest limitation. But this is a good, valuable defensive back to have in your safety core because you can use him a variety of ways, because you do trust him in coverage, and because he is a reliable last line of coverage, and he's pretty good at taking angles and coming downhill and disrupting plays that way as well. So a pretty complete defensive back. Just a sophomore, right? So I think at least 2 years of eligibility left.
3.
And
saw that from Jake.
That SEC pedigree.
Yeah, and I love everything you just said. And I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to put it out there so we know point blank. If you had to start him in a game tomorrow, would you feel comfortable with it?
Yeah. I would.
And that to me is the biggest thing, because you have Shiloh and you have Cam, and those feel like you're starting safeties with a bullet right now. Behind that, it's a little bit of questions. You have Herman Smith, transfer from Jackson State. You have Carter Stoutmeyer, who joined that room from the corner room. You have Travis J. And then there's one more. Oh, and then the guy from Arkansas, R.J. Johnson, I think. That could be so wrong.
And then you always have Trevor Woods, who's factors in.
We're not factoring him in there anymore. I'm not.
Done.
He's moved to linebacker. He's a linebacker. Now, I personally think if you, in a pinch, needed him to go back and play safety, you're comfortable doing that. But he is with the linebackers every day. So I'm calling him a linebacker now.
For some reason, I thought they were a little deeper. There's my guy Finiseth, who hasn't done much. Preston Hodge, I think, kind of factors into a little bit of both, right?
Mostly. I mean, they haven't even been playing outside corner. So I think he's fully a corner. So my point was, you just needed a couple more guys in that room that if you needed to play them, you know that you know what you're getting from them. You know that they're experienced and that they have, like Carter Stoutmeyer could end up being a great safety. Right. He kind of has like a fun build to play that position, but we haven't seen him do it. Travis J hasn't played significant snaps in a long time. You go through the list, like there just wasn't a lot of experience other than your top 2 who you love. And I'm really happy that they were able to go get Savion Riley and bring in a guy that if you have to start him right now in a game, you can say, okay, well, he's done it in the SEC. He's seen it all.
100%.
Played significant snaps last season, and you know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah, no, I really like his versatility. I like his height. I like his speed and sideline to sideline and cover ability. This is definitely a valuable piece to add to that DB room.
And last point I'll say on this, because we're already behind on our first break and we're trying to be on time today, is that 3 years of eligibility. everyone thinks that Coach Prime's just getting these one-and-done transfers left and right. The majority of the guys that they've brought in are not that way. And here's another example of a guy who can go and develop at Colorado and play right now. It's the perfect type of transfer that you're looking for. Yep. Okay. As Jake would say, RK, tell us about your Toyota. I would love to.
Oh, yes.
My
please.
Toyota's great. My favorite feature, the somewhat hands-free cruise control. Now, it does beep at you and say, hey, are you still there if you keep your hands off the wheel for more than like 30 seconds? But it also keeps you in the middle, steers for you. It will even turn for you. If the road is curving, it'll curve with the road. It won't like make a right turn for you like a self-driving car, but this thing is incredible. You can also set like how tight you want it to be on the lines. You can be like, keep me on the straight line. How close you'll let it get to another car before it'll start slowing down. Oh my gosh. It's unbelievable. And we're not talking, I'm not driving like the new 2025
I was going to say,
Forerunner.
you don't have some like new model.
No, this is I don't know, 2020 RAV4.
What a great car.
It's a beautiful car.
What a great company.
Love it. Love Toyota, and I'll be riding with them forever. So make sure you go visit your Front Range Toyota stores. You know all the different names of them, but make sure you tell them DNVR sent you.
Bang. And what a great time in Denver sports. And what a great time to bet on Denver sports. Bet365, our betting partner, here for you through all Nuggets, Avs playoffs. Get some Buffs futures going. Sure, they have some Big 12 odds up by now. I won a bunch on NFL draft props. And right now, as if all of that wasn't enough for you, you can sign up using our code DNVR365, special promotion where you can email us a screenshot of that sign up using our code at promo@thednvr.com. And you are eligible to win merch and bigger prizes as we go. Just a couple weeks left to select some winners here. Could be on a live show. Could go to a practice with one of us. That's just some of the fun stuff we are doing with Bet365. All you got to do is sign up. $10 deposit. You'll get $5 in place a $5 bet, and then you'll get $150 in bonus bets as soon as that bet is settled. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay. So, couple more news that I just want to hit because they're fun. Well, one's fun, one's interesting. Did you see Travis Hunter at the PBR Pro Bull Riding Championships this weekend?
I did not.
Oh, man.
Where are those in?
Where what?
The Pro Bull Riding Championship.
Bull.
Sounds like Wyoming.
Professional bull riding.
Oh, bull riding. Sorry.
Yeah, not pro bowling
well,
riding.
Then you put PBR on the rundown. I'm assuming it was...
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Right, which we don't mess with.
I don't think so. Might be part of the family. You never know anymore. Anyways, I saw Travis there. He got dressed up in the cowboy outfit, and then he surprised one of like the young riders who was at his first competition. Like they were interviewing the kid, and then Travis showed up right behind him, and the kid was like, "Oh my god, dude, this is my favorite college football player!" Like losing his mind. It was great.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossover.
A lot of crossover.
I guess it makes sense. Those places I mentioned, like Lincoln, where college football is what everything revolves around. Some might be bull riding country.
I'm guessing in Texas.
Right.
Seems like the right place to do it.
I would have guessed Wyoming.
That's also a place where they do that.
No, your guess is good as
You ever do? Mine. I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. You ever do mutton busting when you were a kid?
No, I busted a lot of chops, but no mutton busting.
Oh, good one. I did.
You did?
Yeah, you should get Lucia into it.
Really?
For those of you who don't know what mutton busting is,
Did it hurt?
I think it might be I shouldn't say that. Essentially, you're riding sheep, they're bulls, but you're a little kid, and hilarity ensues.
Hilarity does ensue. Yeah, it's a good time. Good times.
Okay, so there was that, and then this is an interesting one. On3 has projected Cormani McClain to land at Florida.
Yep, back to Florida. a little further up north than where he grew up. That program.
Look at you knowing Florida geography.
I'm assuming.
I was taking your.
All I know, North. I know about North Florida and South Florida. Big Orlando guy, Central Florida. Shout out. But yeah, I don't know, man. Feels like yeah.
All I'll say on this is I hope it works out. I can't say that's the only thing I'll say. I'll also say this. One of my concerns for Cormani is that he has too many people in his corner telling him that everyone else is wrong. And I don't know that for a fact. A concern that I have is that might be a situation that's happening.
Yeah.
And I just worry if going back home will make that worse. At the same time, fresh start, clean slate, new coaches, new coaching staff, less expectation.
Yeah.
Which you never know how, a 17, 18-year-old kid is going to deal with that type of expectation. And so I hope it all lines up for him and it works out great. And I will not be sitting here, sour grapes if he starts for Florida and balls out this year. I'll be cheering him on.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the hope.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the breakdowns. If you guys remember, months ago, I sat here, Andre sat there, and I said, for reasons, I asked our guy Andre to break down some Jordan Seaton tape. Of course, those reasons that you guys have all figured out now is that I had it on pretty good authority that Jordan Seaton was going to become a Buff. That was before all the roller coasters that came after that.
Yeah.
But eventually he did become a Buff, and that's why I wanted to break down Jordan Seaton. I wish I could sit here and say, for those same reasons, that's why I asked you to break down JuJu, but I certainly don't have that nearly as solid. But we know that the Buffs are certainly in the mix with JuJu. We've seen JuJu Lewis, of course, 5-star quarterback out of Georgia. We've seen him pull out the Buffs towel every time he's working out. We know he's visiting later this month. And from what I'm hearing, it is really a dogfight between USC and Colorado for the services of Julian Lewis. So I wish I could say this is because I know there's an eventual commitment coming, but I'll have to be honest with you guys and say that's not true. I still wanted to hear what Dre thought of the tape of Julian Lewis. So we watched a bit of it together and you watched a bit of it on your own.
Yeah, what a treat. 6'1", 185. So for a quarterback prospect, that's the first thing that jumps out is that size, him being far more slender than kind of your typical quarterback prospect and a little undersized, even height-wise. And then what you notice is how much, in spite of that size, this kid has a cannon that you'd expect on a kid that's, 6'5", 240. Just easy arm strength. And the thing that really jumps out is how that easy arm strength just shines through when he's on the move, when he's on the run. It's just, full pace, like both feet are in the air, just like launching it with perfect touch, perfect spirals, hitting guys in stride, layering throws and being able to kind of get throws to the sideline, anticipating throws, the kind of stuff that's pretty advanced for a high school guy, the kind of stuff that I don't see from a lot of college kids sometimes, who are just seeing an open guy and throwing it to the open guy. So easy arm strength on the move, and he moves differently. Like his feet and ability to just kind of manipulate the pocket, move up into the pocket, move to the right, avoid pressure, throw away from his arm side across his body. It all comes so naturally and so easy. The first thing I thought when watching him, because of the Lincoln Riley connections and remembering what Kyler looked like when he was a high schooler in Texas, so there was a lot of buzz around Kyler back then. And then you sat down, we were talking in the office while the highlights were playing, and you were like, oh, he's a little Kyler-esque. So that's your first impression.
I've come off of that, though, since.
Right, because he's less twitched up.
Yep.
He's probably less of an athlete, bigger. 6'1" is already bigger than
Kyler play. It was like it didn't look like anything else.
No, it was more like, they're letting Barry Sanders throw the ball? What is going on right now?
That's exactly it. It's like, oh my God, no one can catch him. He's running around like a little jitterbug.
Right.
And he's untouchable. It's not that way here.
JuJu's almost more twitched up Shedeur in some ways, right?
I can't believe you just said that.
Comp.
So I can't believe you just said that because Dre and I are sitting there watching Julian Lewis tape this morning, and I'm trying to think, who is his comp? Who is the person that he reminds me of? And I'm like trying to throw out all these NFL players. I'm like, I can see something in him that I'm like, it looks so familiar to me. Who is it? I'm like, is it Aaron Rodgers? I went as far back as looking at Archie Manning, not Arch Manning, Archie Manning. And then I realized it was just because his colors in high school look a lot like the Saints colors that I was thinking that.
Big black and gold guy right now, JuJu in high school, yes.
So I sat there and I didn't want to tell you because I realized it and I was like, I want to tell this to Dre on the show. And then you just said it. His comp is Shedeur. That's why it looks so familiar and normal to me. I was like, who is this? It's Shedeur. It's the scrambling, not to run. It's scrambling to throw. Mm-hmm. It's being able to throw on the run, but also loving to be able to sit in there and letting the flat route clear out, the inside corner and then throw that easy slant to the inside. It was Shedeur that he looks like when he stands back there and throws the ball. Obviously doesn't have quite the stature of Shedeur, but I think from a play style standpoint, even a little bit from an arm style standpoint, it was Shedeur. And it's so funny that it's like the old thing where it's like when you're looking for something, it's the last place you look, but it was the most obvious place.
Right.
That was what I was doing. I was looking out far and beyond when really the comp that I was looking for was right next to me. It was Shedeur.
It's so funny. I mean, he's really comfortable throwing from within the pocket, really feels pressure well. Maybe the biggest Shedeur comp. Shedeur has that thing that, it's hard to find. It's hard to recognize sometimes, but it's Jokic-esque where you can't speed him up.
Yep.
He kind of plays at his own speed.
Yep.
JuJu seemed to have that as well. It's high school, man. It's hard to, right? Like, I just compared him to
Georgia high school
NBA 3-time MVP and a guy who's the odds-on favorite to be the top pick in the draft next year, right? So, and this is going off a kid's sophomore, junior high school tape in Georgia. So I understand some of the leaps we're making, but stylistically, that's the stuff that jumps out. And you can see if the game comes to him like that, he's a natural processor. He processes things really quickly.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch Shedeur against TCU or any of the Jackson tape, you'll see that he's so calm in the pocket. And unfortunately, I think as the season went on and Shedeur got more banged up and he had less confidence in his offensive line, he got a little more antsy in the pocket, as anyone would. Yeah. But also Brady Quinn, on that breakdown that I tweeted out the other day, talked about how it's kind of crazy that he didn't get more jittery, more sped up, more seeing ghosts. Shedeur really does an amazing job of standing in there, looking incredibly calm and delivering. And I like what you said, not being able to speed him up. I see a lot of that in JuJu. And the last part of this, which we talked about on the show before, but I want to highlight again. Julian Lewis comes to Colorado. He is an instant superstar. He is immediately being talked about on national programs. He's immediately, if he wants to, like Jordan Seaton, he can go be a guest on First Take.
Yeah.
He goes overnight superstar status if he comes to Colorado. And that's not to say that he doesn't become a superstar at USC, but it is a little different. We have to acknowledge it because USC gets a 5-star quarterback every year.
Lincoln
Riley has a 5-star quarterback every year.
I can list them off, right? You're just an added name to the list.
And that if he goes there, if he goes to USC, I'm never going to say, as our friend on Twitter says, bad decision, young man, the Tennessee guy. But you come to Colorado, and this is something that he's kind of lived in. I mean, the dude already has I know this doesn't matter. But the dude already has 130,000 Instagram followers as a high schooler. Like, he's kind of built for this fame.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that's been, had a documentary crew around him for a lot of his life as a quarterback prodigy. He is built for this. And if you don't think that Coach Prime will turn on the faucet to full blast in terms of making Julian Lewis a household name immediately, you're crazy. So that part of it is so fun to me, so exciting to me. We just talked about the football. The football is all there. And I think he absolutely can come in and be a day one starter if he needs to be.
Yeah, me too.
But it's that superstar status. It's going to be a huge topic of next college football offseason of the heir to Shedeur. Whoever it is there. It's going to be discussed. Oh, can Coach Prime win without Shedeur and Shiloh and Travis? And Julian Lewis could be the face of the next era of Coach Prime football.
That's exactly right.
He's the star of every single well-off media video and etc. It's a perfect fit. And I don't think there's another, like, how when a quarterback goes to New York, heck, when Daniel Jones went to New York, you and I and everyone else who saw him at that Senior Bowl, we were like, I don't think he's built for that.
He shut down his media availability at the Senior Bowl within 12 hours.
Because he couldn't handle it.
And
he had some bad answers. He got some bad press, and they were like, we got to get him out of here.
Yeah. And we looked at each other and we were like, this dude, man. And then he got drafted by the Giants and we were like, remember how he shut down media availability? Like, this ain't working out.
So sometimes the lights are too bright for a certain type of person. Yeah. There's no comparison between the New York media and what's happening at Colorado. There is a comparison in the brightness of the lights. Yeah. The lights are incredibly bright. You got to be built for it. And Julian Lewis is 100% built for it. And I am so excited for the prospects of him coming in and becoming an overnight superstar at Colorado.
100%, man. The other thing is, I mean, he would really fit well with what they're trying to build in Colorado offensively with, he would fit a Pat Shurmur offense. I doubt there's many high school recruits I could say that about. I really doubt that.
Remember when Coach Prime was hired and he said, I'm a need to be needed type of guy? And Rick George essentially told him, we need you at Colorado. Not we want you, not come interview for the job. It was, we need you at Colorado.
Boy, did they ever.
Julian Lewis has said he loves that Colorado is always on him. They're always calling him. They're always telling him to, and he said, Colorado talks a lot, and I like that. I think he's a need to be needed guy too. And the truth is, this is not a knock on his game.
Don't get my
hopes up. The truth is, Lincoln Riley and USC don't need Julian Lewis. But Colorado can certainly tell a story of Julian Lewis that we need you. And I think in the end, I think he's like Coach Prime in the fact that he's a need to be needed guy. And I think that might be the reason why he ends up coming here.
He could be the next star. No doubt.
All right. You don't want me to get you too hyped up, so you might need to chill.
Yeah. Oof. Oh, man, Ryan, I tell you. It's funny how we do this to ourselves, but the Nuggets being down 2-0 really had me stressed, man. That's like such a team that like I trust.
Oh yeah.
That's like an anchor in my life.
So
you
true.
know, it's like they play righteous basketball. They are my team. I'm a righteous Nuggets fan. And it just didn't sit well. And I chose to chill. I said, you can't be stressing out about this. You can't let all this get to you. Believe, chill, sit down, have a Coors Light, nice and fresh. Got a little Coors Light cooler upstairs. And wait till you see that on our sets. Coming to you soon. Mother's Day again, putting on a brave face, doing my thing, you take a nap. Oh, you want to get your nails done? Oh, don't worry, I got this. Inside, stressed about the Nuggets. Chose to chill. Thank you, Coors Light, for letting me chill and being there for me in these tough times. Make the most of your times to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR.
Also, I mentioned it at the top when we talked about the 5:30 kickoff. for the game in Lincoln. Guys, you got to come with us. Those who went to the TCU game can attest to what a time it is. We're staying at the nicest hotel in Lincoln. I say that.
A barn, Ryan? Come on.
I know.
That's not fair.
I don't know what that means. It might be like the nicest car in the junkyard.
Right.
But
right.
It also might be nice. I think it's actually pretty nice. Kind of like an oasis in the desert type of thing. We're staying at the nicest hotel in Lincoln. We're having an all-inclusive tailgate. We are doing it big. You can get your tickets through us as well. But you got to get one of the packages. So go to truefantravel.com/trip/DNVR road trip to Lincoln to go directly to it, or you can just search DNVR True Fan Travel on Google to get into it. We'll also tweet out the links and you can find them there. This is going to be an all-timer. If you missed TCU last year, that's okay. But also you missed being in a movie.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen this year in Lincoln.
No, in Lincoln is just different, man. It's going to hit different. I went to a game in Lincoln, Ohio State's first game as a Big Ten opponent against Nebraska. Blown away, man. Blown away.
You were going to say blown out.
Sadly, it was actually the greatest comeback in Nebraska football history. Levante David had some.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Braxton Miller as a freshman. It was the year in between Tressel and Urban Meyer, the guy who's now at Wisconsin. What's his name? The guy who coached Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. Anyways.
It was his year as an interim, but I was blown away, and I came wearing a Buffs hat. My whole theme in Lincoln was I want them to remember we're still here. I got a few like, you're lost, buddy.
I would have said that to you if you were doing that.
Rooted against Nebraska. Obviously, this was a bazillion years ago. I think I'm joining. I think I'm making this trek.
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
Please do. I want to see Lit Dre in Lincoln.
This is like the roots of like the college football we grew up with.
Yes.
It's far too important.
All right, we definitely went over the 1 minute there, but that doesn't count.
No, that was a side. That was an unrelated to the Reed side story.
Anyways, you guys got to come with us. It's gonna be unbelievable. I really hope that you do come. By the way, speaking of what you just said, I do that thing too, where I say like, "Are you lost?" but less douchey, I guess. But I made a huge mistake at the last Nuggets game I went to. Because there was a guy sitting there wearing a Clippers jersey.
Legend.
He was in the seat next to us.
Yes.
And the first thing I said to him was, they're not playing tonight. And then we never had it ended our potential seat neighbor friendship before it even started.
Name on the back?
Paul George, I think.
Wow. Okay.
But like,
it was
who does that?
a candy.
Who wears a Clippers jersey to a Nuggets Wolves game?
But that's a thing people do. It's like, oh, hey.
But you kind of did it too. But
wear your sports gear at the sporting event, buddy.
Yeah.
I was there to root on the Buckeyes with my buddy who's a Buckeyes fan, but I'm not. This isn't big market Dre. I'm not like rocking Yankees hats around here. That's not my style.
This is why I just like don't really go to these things. Like, I guess I've like gone to Eagles games, but I'll wear Eagles gear there because like I don't.
You married into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's allowed.
I wouldn't know what to do if I went to like a Diamondbacks Padres game.
I know.
It's like I'm not wearing either of those teams' gear. I guess you just like wear a regular.
Truth is, at those games, I'm rooting for both teams to just be abolished altogether.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I cared that much about baseball anymore.
Oh boy, hardball.
All right, let me get back to the rundown I created for us.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that you wanted. Oh, okay. Actually, let's. Do you want to start with the news or the Big 12 style?
I think we might need to do news and then jump to questions.
We'll save that for another day.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, there is some news out there in the college football world.
Oh, right.
And I think it very much pertains to the Buffs. Let me just pull it up here so I get everything right.
Amazing.
We found on College Football Reddit. Assist to Jake for sending this to me. FBS Oversight Committee to vote this week on removing the cap on-field coaches. Currently set at 10 paid coaches plus 4 unpaid GAs. The proposal requires off-campus recruiters to regularly engage in on-field coaching. Essentially, this allows you to really open up who you can have out there coaching the Buffs. And I think if this were to pass, it's absolutely advantage Colorado because all of Coach Prime's connections are now options to come in and join the staff. And I put that in air quotes because they don't even really have to join the staff as much as just become a part of what's happening. I weirdly remember like the Broncos after D. Ware retired, DeMarcus Ware brought him back as like a assistant
pass rush move consultant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like he was there like once a week or something, maybe once every 2 weeks. He's like, oh, I'm on vacation this week. I'm not going to be there. But he was there. And they had DeMarcus Ware out there working with their guys, which everyone wants. And I think this opens up that door for Colorado to hire Chad Johnson as a route running consultant.
Right.
And Coach Ocho, or as I say, Coach Ocinco, can come and be out there right now. And this is just the truth for what's going on all across college football right now. If where did Terrell Owens go?
Terrell Owens. Oh gosh, small school.
Roy? I don't remember. But if he wants to go back to his school, if Paul Richardson wants to come to Colorado, if
Tennessee Chattanooga.
Okay, UT Chattanooga. If he wants to go there right now, if he wanted to go visit there and give their wide receivers coaching, they couldn't do it.
It's so dumb.
I mean, how dumb is that?
It's just ridiculous.
And you know what? He's gonna do it anyway, and they'll just won't. No one will find out about it.
Right.
And this is one of those. This is one of those rules that's like the NCAA is starting to figure out what they can and can't police, and starting to lax things because it's just not worth trying to police it in those types of ways. So this would be so huge for Colorado to be able to tap into Coach Prime's connections and publicly, flaunt that the greatest players in football history are coming to Colorado. Peyton Manning can't go work on the field with Tennessee's quarterbacks right now. And I don't know exactly how this rule will directly change that because I don't think Tennessee's going to like pay Peyton Manning to become a coach.
Yeah.
Colorado, I think, has an interesting way of being able to take advantage of this if it passes, and certainly allows so like when you want to add Warren Sapp, you don't have to like have him like graduate and then come here as a grad assistant. Like it's kind of silly. Now it's also great for Coach Sapp that he got his degree. Now he's going to get a master's along with it probably. But in the end, it's a lot of loopholes and stuff that you can avoid if this passes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it could also open up staff limitations, GA limitations, and could just help you expand on the staff as well.
Absolutely.
It's a nice thing.
Do you want to talk about? No, let's get to questions.
Okay.
So let's hear from the people.
Yeah, Toyota chat.
Before we get out of here, the Toyota chat.
Lots going on
Good
as
stuff.
always.
Couple shout outs. I think Diallo said earlier that he's a forever Buff now. So congratulations to him on his graduation. Shout out to all the moms. I know we shouted them out on Friday, I believe, but shout out to all the moms as well. I hope you had a lovely and wonderful Mother's Day.
Yeah. You were on your P's and Q's with your mom?
I'd say so, yeah.
Good. That's great.
Yep, got our new Buffs hat.
Dang, that's dope.
Yep.
Lots of emails from places I buy sports gear telling me like, oh, Mother's Day. Like, this doesn't help me at all, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
My mom is a huge Buffs fan. She also she texted us this morning that she brought her new hat on vacation with her today. So
legend.
Yes. I also got my grandma she's a huge Nuggets fan. Got her our championship book, the Golden Era book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
She was hype on it.
That's amazing.
All
when I showed that to my grandpa, he never gave it back and assumed it was his.
No, that's good for him.
It was awesome.
I think when you're a certain age, you can just do shit like that.
Yeah.
No one will call you on it.
Yeah, totally. I certainly did it.
From Eric Morris, Andre and RK, can you imagine the speeches Coach Prime will have come Nebraska week? Yeah, it's going to be fire.
Every week's legendary.
I know.
Yeah, what will they do to tap into the rivalry this year?
I don't know. You've already got a Nebraska kid chirping. I think he had like a kick return that almost went to the house in the spring game.
Okay.
And then he said like, "Oh, don't worry, like come Colorado week, I'm taking one to the crib," or something like that.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, he's like, why don't you worry about your week 1 opponent, bud?"
Wow.
It reminded me of a glorious moment in 2018 when Colorado, of course, beat Nebraska on the last minute touchdown to Laviska Shenault. And then afterwards, their captain, who was a linebacker, said something along the lines of like, no one's going to be thinking about this Colorado loss when we win the Big Ten championship. And I think they went 4-8 that year.
Oh, those Scott Frost teams were the best. Miss you, buddy. Miss you, Frosty. Come back. Come on.
Go back to Nebraska, please.
Go back to Nebraska, truly.
From Lone Wolf said, did you guys watch the Buffton Prime comparison on Carson, Beck, and Shedeur? So shout out to our friends at Buffton Prime. They have been doing some really cool film breakdowns. I tapped in this morning.
Did you?
Thinking like, oh, I've got half an hour. I'll see what they had to say. Turns out it's a 3-hour stream.
Whoa.
So shout out to them for putting the work in.
Ball lovers.
But also a bit intimidating. So I think I got like the first 30 minutes in. But that didn't get me much. So I'll tap back in later tonight or tomorrow morning to continue watching. But the Buffton Prime TCal has learned what happens when you shake an SEC beehive, because he is just going back and forth with them all day, every day now.
Really?
Those SEC fans.
Yeah. It means more.
They'll just go forever.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate him fighting the good fight, because for what it's worth, Shedeur Sanders definitely a better prospect than Carson Beck. But he's all about diving into the tape and proving it. So it'll be a fun one to watch.
I like them both. I was watching Carson Beck against Savion Riley and that Vanderbilt defense today and was not super impressed.
And I like it's so hard to do these comparisons and not tear one side down. You know, it's like the classic Jokic Embiid thing. It's like both of these guys are like amazing.
Yep.
It just happens that our guy's better.
Right.
But we actually don't have to say Joel Embiid sucks to say that Nikola Jokic is amazing, because he doesn't. He doesn't suck. And I think that's somewhat true of this too. Like Carson Beck, he's 1 year starting under his belt.
Yeah.
Certainly wasn't perfect. I also kind of feel like there was a time where Georgia fans were saying he wasn't good enough, and they need to upgrade there. Maybe they're back on that train. But I think that both guys can be good with one guy being better, and I think the better one is Shedeur.
For sure.
All right. What else we got here? From Diallo. RK, have you talked about the video of Matt Rule praising Coach Prime? I have not seen that. Have you?
No, I haven't seen that at all.
Must have missed it.
Yeah, the Matt Rule clips on my timeline are less than they were last offseason.
It's so funny. The new Twitter algorithm I hate.
Yeah.
Because you can't hate watch anything, or else then it thinks you like it. And so I know all of these people who are constantly commenting on anything Colorado that I post out there. I just know their timeline is just top to bottom Buffs.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I say one thing about the Lakers, even when I'm hating on them, I get like 14 Lakers posts in my timeline. So then I'm like, all right, I gotta filter this out by not posting about them for a while.
Yeah.
And so like anytime I see Nebraska stuff, I just immediately scroll past it, because I'm like, I don't want Twitter to keep serving me this, because I'll get annoyed by it. So you can't hate watch things anymore.
What a shame.
I know.
But we'll still hate watch.
But it is funny to me just knowing in the back of my head, like, oh my God, all of these people who hate Colorado are being served so much Colorado information on a daily basis, because they can't help themselves but to engage with it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
It is. Next one from Scum Sunny. says, what rank do you believe the 2025 recruiting class will be if we land JuJu? I'd imagine at least top 20. Dude, I think it comes down to how many Coach Prime wants to take. But they could get to top 5 if they wanted to. From what I've heard, there's like a posse of players that want to play with JuJu Lewis.
Really?
Yes. And it will create one hell of a recruiting snowball if you land him, and you want to go big with that class. We know Coach Prime has traditionally, at least at Colorado, at least 2 years, gone pretty small with the freshman classes. And so I think it'll be kind of like name your number. How many players do you want? Well, you want 15. You can get 15 really high caliber players.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, just getting JuJu, that should vault the class pretty high, right?
All right, from Zachary Taylor, the SI article calls Chijioke trench bully.
It's pretty good.
Interesting. Block bully, trench bully.
Yeah.
I like baby bully, but that also, like, I don't know. I guess baby T.O. is embracing that.
Yeah.
The Bully Brothers is sick.
Yeah.
For the two of them.
Bullies on the block.
Block. It could just be block bullies.
Right, block bullies. Yes. Also,
block bully is just so good for.
Also, is it an SI article? Is it an SI blog?
Oh, don't get into that.
Just big, huge difference to me. JuJu Lewis on an SI cover, however,
a real SI
that's
cover.
Legit.
A real
that's
SI
legit.
cover. Yeah,
Yes.
It says like the age of NIL or something, and it's JuJu Lewis.
Right. The money issue.
The money issue.
It was the money issue.
That's crazy. From Rev BJ Nelson, Cormani goes from scholarship to PWO. So I hadn't heard that. I shouldn't say I haven't heard that. I've heard that rumor that if he goes to Florida, it would be as a walk-on. That would shock me. That would shock me, but it's been that buzz has been around a lot. So I don't know if that's just coming from nowhere, if that's been reported. Let me see if I can see anything.
That'd be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't want to drop down a level, not literally from like D1 to D2, but if you don't want to drop down from Power 4 to G6, I guess we're calling that now. G5 still?
G5, yeah.
So here we go. This just says from On3, new Colorado transfer Cormani McClain has received expert predictions to land at Florida. Here's intel. Let's see if they have anything in here about preferred walk-on. Oh, is this going to be... Oh, it's a premium article. So, On3, guys. Hook it up if you want to squash the beef.
Nice.
Anyways, if you didn't want to do that, then you would, I guess you would be willing to accept a preferred walk-on offer and just say, I'm going to prove myself, which it's rare for a 5-star transfer with 4-ish years of eligibility remaining, 3, to take a PWO offer that early.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Buffs News Weekly says RK Florida is way over on scholarships, so that's why people are saying that there's no scholarships available this year. It's kind of like cap space, though, right?
Yeah.
If you need it, you find it.
Yeah. Also, like, I think it says a lot more about Cormani and his status than anything.
How about this, though, as the future of recruiting? Because for a long time, we got 1 minute left. For a long time, people have been restricting how many players you can have. What if you can just NIL a scholarship?
Well, that's true. That's true.
All right. Last couple questions.
That was it.
Oh, that was it. Oh, I didn't have to rush through that answer so much.
You're really cutting it close.
We got 8 seconds. We were asked to be on time today. We are nailing it on time to the second. Have a great day and go Buffs.
We all silly like the